Hello, and welcome to another episode of Map Meandering, a series in which I meander around maps, basically reviewing them because a friend of mine asked me to. If you are someone who is not that friend of mine and you can end this, I hope you enjoy it. Looking at Scepter, it's kind of an older map, at least judging by the mini-map. Starting off in T-spawn. Real quick, I find these little cubbies funny. I guess it's like a safe spot, but it feels so unnecessary, but it's interesting. I also like how this area is not gated off, but roped off, but you can still kind of go through it. It doesn't actually stop you. On some maps, like modern maps, like CS2 for example, would have such aggressive clipping and stop you from going anywhere near this, and it's nice that this doesn't do that. And we're gonna head over to B, I think, because that looks simpler. Nice decoration. This appears to be a route back to Meandering. Got a lot of stuff going on, like above player level, like visually, which I think is nice, sort of like what Mirage Palace does, where like above you, you don't really notice it often in gameplay, but there's a bunch of stuff up there to admire, and I think this map also does something similar. And I think that's nice. And over to B, and ooh, we got a. This kind of reminds me of Train B site, how there's like in Brown Hall, there's an upper and a lower route. Maybe we can actually utilize this upper route to get angles through main. And oh, it looks like there's an upper way to jump out over here. Oh no, you can't jump out. Maybe it's just the angle to peek, sort of like a sniper's nest. Interesting. So you can help clear out sight from here, but you can't actually get out of this. Interesting. Speaking of interesting, the sight. I guess I fat fingered the trigger button earlier, and it is interesting. So you can't plant inside here. It's just all outside. This backside area is a very small, thin site. Like at first glance, you'd assume, but the way the map is, or the most CS maps are, sorry, that it's structured for this to be the bomb site, and that's sort of like an Inferno B around the fountain. But no, it's the equivalent of like New Box and Emo that is the site, which is interesting. You may actually think of the angles coming out as a T. Since you're coming over this elevated surface, you can peek over this wall, see CTs, I think. Yeah, so fights will occur over this. Speaking of fights that will occur over things, this is kind of more hidden route. You can jump on this for elevation, which is nice. This is a little less nice, so you can get an angle and not from. I placed them weirdly. We got 3 bots over here. Let's fly up, place with gravity. He is still on there. You can get peeked through 2 railings. It still looks visually clear, which is good. And I'm assuming that there's no bullet clips on this. Yeah, this is a well-made map. I think this is interesting though. Yeah. The fact you can stand on this for alternative levels of elevation for more peaks, I think is an interesting feature. Looking at the B site. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like there's much. You just kind of enter as a T. Be careful about the close left, maybe a 5-7 shotgun player on an eco. Be mindful that someone playing this kind of thin lane, as well as all the headshot angles that you saw earlier. And just make your way to sight. It's just so weird that the site is over here instead of where you'd expect. You have this whole entire upper elevated area on the staircase, which is interesting. This probably leads to CT. Speaking of, let's quickly get a CT perspective. Spawn around here, and then you can go to the left on this upper area, which, alright, this appears to be new. I'll talk about that later. So you can go this upper area, can you? That's all. But this probably doesn't have collisions. Yeah. Alright. Or you could go through this kind of lower CT area and you're posted on an angle. Very interesting how deep of an angle you can get. That is less expected. Both the upper area. I haven't really talked too much about the angles on the upper area, but they can help you clear the CT upper, I guess heaven, rafter, that kind of thing. This rafter area, I feel like it's very peculiar. We have solid pieces of cover to play around with this, and we have other pillars that are too small to actually maneuver around properly, which isn't inherently bad. It's just interesting because they just kind of, they're like fake cover, it's half cover, like in the way of a gunfight, but they don't actually provide any. Interesting. Forgot to mention that CTs tend to jump on this and peek over as well. They don't have to expressly take headshot peeks like this. They're also able to jump onto here and peek like this. Lots of options for CT side movement. You can jump on this on turn. It's not cache. That was such a weird change they did to cache. Oh, this bush is a thing that you can stand in. It's not really a real spot, but I mean, kind of comparable to this. It's slightly less expected. You're not really hiding in the bush, but it's just kind of an off angle playing on this wall. If I were to move the bots over, again the third person, I could face here and swing off of contact with someone here. I'm not exposed to the sniper's nest area, so definitely a solid angle to consider playing. Yeah, if I was a CT, I'd probably want to be posted somewhere kind of on this upper area in a way that isn't exposed to sniper's nest. So like this, or like this, and then I swing off contact or flashes. This is probably also an option. Actually, it is not. I just take it back. This is an option though. We're standing so far back that I can't be seen and just jump over the staircase. And maybe having another death lane in sight somewhere around this, a bit more aggressive with an op. Yeah, that's solid. CB. If I were to adjust it at all, I feel like we could have the sight extend a bit more, like up to here and here as the new like corners of the site. I think it could extend a bit more. Honestly, I don't think there's like a lack of cover on site. I think it's perfectly fine. I do think maybe you could make this a bit larger of a piece of cover, because right now it's like a little half cubby, but I think making it a more solid piece of cover to fight around like this would be nice. Because right now you have that similar thing, but through this, if this wasn't here, you'd have a nice angle. But I think just having it like this makes it so that a CT, if they were trying to play that, they have to be a bit more forward, right? More susceptible to getting flashed. And also in T's on post plant, it gives them a better angle to fight around because they can be behind this and they're not exposed to this upper area while still fighting at a CT. And while yes, you can do that from here already, I just think it's nice to have solid pieces of cover because also it creates this where I can peek out and around this and fight the heaven guy with like headshot angles. I think it just adds more to the map. And I guess there's movement potential. That's not really what I was thinking of. But if I had to make a change to me, it would be make the site bigger and add these boxes. These boxes less so. Site bigger, yeah, it just feels like a very thin, congested plant spot. And you're always planting here. This is your default plant. It's open to sniper's nest. If you want to try planting open, then you'd probably do it here for sniper's nest again. But I guess it's a bit more open to people playing around these angles on site. Actually, no, it's less open to someone playing around this. So the default is simultaneously the most open and safest plant. Interesting. Alright, that's enough about B. Let's take a look at A. Starting from the T perspective again, we had done this. Once again, so much information. This, I think, is mid. Yeah, looking at the minimap, appears to be in middle. So we'll head this way to A. Yep. This double door thing here in the church that appears to be kind of tarped up under construction. Window thing to jump through. You can silent everything here, I believe. I just have to not be ass. If you do the crouch, uncrouch thing. Yeah. Little pit here. Not like a real one, but potential angle that's unexpected. This goes back in the mid? Yeah. So this is another way to peek or to come into middle. And it appears that there is movement. You can peek over this, or you can do movement to jump on this and peek like that. We're getting sidetracked on mid. A little meandering. This whole entire cubby is weird. Oh, wallbang. Right? Yeah. I don't know why like this whole entire right area exists. I think utility is the best guess I can think of, which is good that they are being mindful about that. I like how there's a window here for utility and another window here for utility. I think that is cool. Pretty aggressive clipping, so you can't boost on any of these types, it looks like. But there are ways to throw utility. Like from here, I'd probably throw a high flash over. Oh, it's not even close. We're gonna and that might maybe has a chance of blinding someone on the A side. Speaking of the A side, it looks a lot larger of a plant zone than B, which is a good thing on first glance. You got this little, I want to call it plat, but it's not really a platform, but that's just what I instinctively want to refer to it as. You come out of the church either through, you know, the jump drop, and you can get angles like this. This drop area I think is like a place a CT could hide, but isn't the best. Is there a wallbang potential? No, this is all. You can't go into here. And this doesn't allow you to link up for a wallbang. Okay. I thought there was a chance to get wallbanged on this door, so if a CT was trying to play around this barrel area, they could, you know, get spammed out. But that's not the case. What they can have happen to them is maybe a molly from around here, have it bounce off of. Nah, it's too much. But yeah, come out of either the drop or the main. They both culminate into the same area, but this coming through the drop allows you to start peeking from here and up this side, the right side from the CT perspective. And while they're posted on this, you know, if they're a bit wider and they're posted on this, then you can get peeked from there. So they'd have to be holding a thinner angle or merge the angles into one as CT. So we come out here, lots of stuff to deal with. On the left, we have what appears to be something that comes back in a mid, and we have another thing like Sniper's Nest did on B site, where we have a place that can't be ran through, but is a line of sight. Interesting. We have windows, which can theoretically be wall banged, standing on this, and then peeking top of the box, and then you could maybe wall bang a guy as they're coming through this area. You'd probably want a more specific lineup, but it's theoretically possible, not something we'll be using too often. This does not lead to a wooden door for a wall bang. Lots of wall bang potential, it feels like. Got this pit area. I'm kind of looking more into the CT side right now than I should be, because from the T perspective, it's just you come out of here and you got so many angles. You absolutely need to smoke here to think of doing anything. And then probably as well as smoke here. And then you can start thinking about, you know, playing this map. You just have to worry about this little pit type area. I've been calling a lot of things pit. Let's call this gate, because there's a gate here. And can we jump on the ledge? Like, yeah, you can. It's like B-site to trying to get different angles. It's interesting that they give that off angle. Jump on this to peek over the center thing. There's benches on both sides of this little, I want to call it a tomb. That's probably not what it is. But this, you know, center sight box, you can jump around it, get a headshot angle, and fight, which I think is interesting to allow for movement. This kind of staircase to door that wall bangs to nothing is interesting. There's so many like things I feel like I should have wall bangs for. Like, it probably wouldn't be great for gameplay, but it'd be interesting. But this is a place that a T is probably going to be playing post plant, either kind of around this headshot style, or as a full off angle here, and then they kind of swing off a tap, or bounce a molly off this to hit someone. Interesting. This default plant is probably just going to be here, nice and safe, open to, you know, main and this open area. This is the mid thing. Open plant, I think, would... I genuinely think that default is also the open plant. Maybe you could say here, because it's... No, default is the open plant. Because you can see it from the gate too if you needed to. Maybe a jump shot, jumping like quickly. Hit a Kukli real quick, or a Kali if you actually pronounce it right. You can jump on these for an off angle as you peek. That's interesting. It just feels so open coming out. Like, I feel very overwhelmed with this op angle that a CT is probably going to be posted on, as well as the potential of this op angle that a CT could be posted on. It just feels very hard. And that second op angle is like a headshot angle. Like, I'm not ready for that. Like, if I place a CT here, I'm not winning that fight with a rifle. Ever. I don't even notice him. He's probably... Is he crouched? See? He's crouched, uncrouch him. Uncrouch him, I can barely see him. Crouch him? Okay, yeah, that just like really blends into the background there. It is very hard to see that visually. Unironically, this is one of the few moments I think that it's not even worth trying to help with the visibility. It's just such a long angle that we just adjust the map structure to not have that be a thing. I think being able to play around this box, or not box, but this barrel, for the sight is fine, right? But for the peak that was here earlier, that's a little much. And I think doing this kind of alleviates that issue. Hell, I'm fine if there's like a way to cheese, you know, even if it was double barrels and there was a way to jump on this, I wouldn't even think that's bad. I just think that's funny. It needs some more angles, but I would just definitely want to patch up this absurd headshot angle all the way into main. Just that single thing has made this site feel so much more like playable to me. And there's still like a thin op angle here that someone could choose to play around, but it isn't, you know, as bad as having the headshot angle. This feels a lot more manageable. This is like the main op angle that you have to worry about, and it's not even like terrible. Like, you can definitely play around that. This area feels like it could use something, in my opinion. Just a nice little tiny piece of cover to play around. Maybe a bit larger than this. I should have placed it a bit more to the right, but I think this gives a little something for both teams too. So like a T pushing up can kind of scale on this and play around it to hold the CT aggression. It's an interesting area, interesting site, and this isn't necessary, but I think it might be interesting to just place a single little box around this area to allow a person to jump and then jump. I don't know if it inherently be good, but I think it's interesting. This might be kind of a bad angle though, this headshot angle. So maybe scratch that. I maybe didn't think about the actual implications of it. I just thought funny movement, funny angle, sight in the bush plant where you're retaking. This bush angle is a devious place for CT to be playing around this headshot, but it feels like fair. I don't feel like the same level of bullshitness I do from this barrel headshot angle that existed earlier. And just vibing. Being able to boost here, you can get like a similar thing to what okay, we're just gonna get, oh no. All the guys, like, okay, oh no. I hate how you can travel with bot place, we're just not gonna worry about it. Boom. This. Have him stand? He's standing, question mark? Yes. This is not a bad angle. I think it is interesting, and if these barrels weren't here, it would not be bad. But I just think this is like fun. This is fair. It's unexpected. So yeah, just either get rid of these barrels or add more here to make this not an angle that can be headshot played. Yeah, and that's a sight. Said everything about it and then some. At least from the T perspective. Us CTs, they can go to the right and that's middle. And if they go to the right, they can also go through here into, I'm gonna call it underpass. I've called like 17 places pit, I swear. We're just gonna take these bots and we're gonna jam them in there. But we have this little area that can also be accessed quickly through this CT hall. And we have this actual peak here. I'm staying on this for some unexpected elevation, or this as well. If this wasn't here, then this would be a better angle. But I do genuinely think that adding this has helped make this feel less daunting on post plant for a T to maybe consider scaling up, playing something. Yo, what if there was a barrel here? And that way you could like, it wouldn't be a barrel, but it'd be like a lantern or something, and then you could do a quick jump. It'd probably have to be higher, but I don't know. This just reminds me about Toxic, being able to do the silent jump, how to get information. But you can't really do that anymore in CS2 because they got rid of everything good. Anyways, I didn't really touch on this back area from the T perspective, but definitely a good place to play post plant, and a CT based on timings might be able to kind of play around this pillar in an interesting way. Speaking of some interesting things, being able to throw utility. Can you throw utility through that? Yes, you can. Meaning that you could stand here and be like, that's it, I'm flashing sight. I'm flashing sight. And then full blinds the CT player, maybe? Nope. But it's a thing that exists. This whole entire lower area is sparsely detailed, but it's not like it's a bad thing. It's outside the map. It's just compared to the rest of the map. So much detailing done, you'd expect a little more. What is this? This isn't real. This shouldn't be a place on a... None, these don't make sense. Nope. Yeah, I can't, why am I critiquing goddamn Architect? I can't be bothered. Being able to stand underneath this is funny. Imagine you're jumping out and then you just get destroyed by a guy who's just hiding under. Being able to get angles on these bushes that are a bit unexpected is nice too. For, you know, fighting this mid, if you know they're coming through there. Speaking of mid, let's look at it from the T perspective. Coming through rug room. We come out of mid in one way. There was this other way we looked at earlier. And this window in this room. So you don't even need to like expose your, so you can go A, right, and at the church you can turn left, go into the storage room, and then just go hop into this window, and you never really need to fight for mid to do this mid to A thing. So this sniper's nest is very easily controlled. Damn. I forgot to mention the CTs can obviously do this movement, well anyone can. And I guess they have this vantage point as well. That's interesting. Alright, looking more at mid. We have this staircase which allows you to go back to B. This is more of a, oh, I was on way to B, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna cancel. Let's rotate from fireplace. This is probably like one of 4 fireplaces, but shh. You can rotate from fireplace back to the middle. This whole entire area is like T controlled, huh? They can get to here and here. So this is where mid actually starts, like this kind of line right here. And what do you get from going mid? There's a pit here. There's a lot of these. Reminds me of kind of graveyard, I don't know why, but that's the vibe I get from this. That's an angle that a CT could play, that's kind of dumb. This is very thin, but is a piece to cover to play around. And then if you go all the way, then you can flank into underpass for A. And if you're doing A mid to B, then you can go straight and you're in like CT spawn, and CT spawn can go into the rafters area. That is the map. That is everything. That is interesting. If I were a CT playing this, what would I do? I would get a person posted on A with a gun of the rifler variety and have them be playing kind of more close and brawly around this area or this area, kind of a bit more aggressive on some rounds. If they need to play more passive, they have the option to on different rounds, playing around this maybe, or playing in this kind of pit gate area. Imagining this box is in here, just how the map is vanilla. You probably also want an opera posted on this angle if it still exists. If this barrel is here, then as suggested, then you'd be here, or you could just be posted on this extremely long op angle from back here. You'd probably actually want a third guy A as well to be more focused about this part of Sniper's Nest mid, or based on how timings work, you can get a T to hold it, I guess. I'm not sure how timings work, but we'll look at that in a bit. But based on how that is, I'll probably get a CT trying to allocate themselves to holding down this area that I'm going to call something. Skull, because there's skulls on the wall. I'm so good at comms. Why call it balcony when I could call it something entirely irrelevant? And then B just seems pretty simple to just post on with one guy. They're just playing around this. They do have a utility window. They don't. This is not a utility window, so they don't have a lot of avenues to throw utility for the site, which is making it a lot easier for CT to hold. Like this is their main, this window, or throwing it straight out. Probably gonna like have someone be standing all the way like back here, throwing a pop flash. It's a shift walk throw. It's probably a bit more power, but the goal is to get something that probably pops like right where my head is right now. Ideally a bit deeper. We do have some ways to throw utility through this, it seems like. No, it's just clipped. Yeah, it's grenade clipped. There's other stuff like that in the map, and it isn't, so assumed it wasn't. But yeah, it's kind of hard to do stuff with utility on the site. Aside from like very simple, like, oh, I'm running for it and I'm gonna bounce a smoke. Probably show off my whole shoulder while doing so, but yep. This can very easily get a guy posted with an op around here. Or if you don't have op money yet, you can probably get him kind of semi-aggressively rifling. The thing is T's have like 2 levels of elevation to peek at, which can throw off an opper. That's like the one thing that they have going for them. But if you don't care about that, you can just post a rifler here if you don't want to get as aggressive. And it's all just one angle. And if they get flashed, right, you quickly tuck on this, and then on repeat. If they somehow get hit by a devious pop flash that's thrown like from here, it pops on this ping. This is like not bad. Probably have it go higher. Why am I looking at pop flashes on a map that I'm never gonna play? Why not? Yeah, you probably want it to pop higher. Like, the ideal flash would be something that pops here. This would be the best flash, and that's what I thought. Like, these appear to be on purpose. We have a utility window here. There's the one and only utility window, but it requires me to be standing in main. That's interesting. Open this up and let me throw utility. That'd be cool. Maybe it'd make the site too easy to hit, but it feels right now very lacking in terms of utility options. And what I can do as a T, I feel very, very limited. I have to expose myself to so much, and then before I can think without flashing out. And even then, it's not going to be a great flash. So, yeah, that is all this map in terms of like strategy, I think. T is just going to be trying to burst out of B with some utility. It's going to be hard. A seems a lot easier with the ability to take control of mid. Mid seems kind of essential to this map, like it is with most 4-square maps. This is a 4-square map, like, literally, like in terms of, okay, not literally. In terms of theory it is, right? But the physicality doesn't make it look or feel like a 4-square. But mechanically it is. So that is interesting. Is this the one bush you can't jump on? Interesting. Alright, let's take a look at timings. Time to reveal I don't have a knife. Starting on T side, heading A at 7:07. Forgot about that area, that's weird. I'm here at like 56, 55. So it started at 7:07, so you're gonna put that at 12 seconds. Let's look at the CT perspective. Starting at 42. Alright, this is looking like I'm gonna get there a whole lot quicker than I might have initially intended. Okay, so there's gonna be a fight engaging around a CT coming around here and a T that could be posted at different levels of headshot elevation if they want it to hold. So a CT can easily be throwing a smoke that covers all of this. That's probably what they're gonna be doing pretty darn often. Right. There's a smoke like this, and then makes it a lot harder to do stuff, and then they maybe get into the window area. Speaking of the window area, let's see how fast I can get there. I'm lost. Where was I looking? I was looking nowhere near A. 32. I can get posted here in 12 seconds. I can just look at this angle. Let's see what the mid timing is like. On the T side. Starting at 25. Okay, so I can definitely, if I somehow was able to cross mid-safe, like, let's say hypothetically you have a smoke here. This isn't even like the safest route, but it might be faster than the window route. Don't make any. This is possible to like fight for this as a guy's kind of. He just jumped in, so this is kind of hard to contest. But let me do that one more time, going to the window route. That's probably better. 52. Getting a lot of 52s and 42s. If I go through the safe way, then a CT can easily get posted on me. But if I go through the risky way and I just kind of run across, then I can make it interesting. So that's the timing for this. So probably just get that guy who was talking about how you'd be allocated to the balcony, but I wasn't sure how. He'd be up in here, and he'd just be picking off the guy as he crosses. Yeah, but a T is going to probably want to throw a smoke as early as they can for that area. It should probably be a teammate standing like here and then dodge it off this wall. And then boom. Maybe that's it, maybe it's not. Okay, maybe if we need it to pop faster, so it'd be something like I'm standing here, and I'm running through it, it bounces off a flower, and then I go. Except I like throw it better. There's definitely a way to do it that isn't like bad, but you just get the smoke from there, and then boom, cross, so you get a good timing. It's gonna be difficult. You'd have to learn the utility, but if once you get that, this is an essential piece of utility. Once you get it, you're chilling. And A becomes very easy to burst onto with a split push from both angles. Probably going to want to, if that utility becomes common in a hypothetical situation where this map is played significantly in a competitive manner, then I believe that we would find ourselves in a situation where a CT would want to bounce the molly off this and try and scale. Maybe they put more force on it so it lands deeper in. But yeah. Interesting. What are the timings? Speed timing. Starting at 42. What is it? What the 2 starts? Peeking this all. Okay, so I can full peek like everything wide at 12 seconds, but at like 11 at 10 is when I like peek this initial thing. Let's look at it from the CT perspective. 18. First ever non-normal. I think I took the long way, but this might give me the angle faster. Okay, so at 10 seconds I'm still able to like fully post here. So at 10 seconds is where like I was around here, and if I were to go the upper route, I'd probably be a bit further back. So yeah, so we can hold all this. And let me quickly look at the CT side mid timing because I already saw CT.
We got this.
51. Not 52 is sad. And yeah, I'm so posted. I'm like able to get up, like stop and fight. I would be able to engage in a gunfight, kind of swinging around this, playing as this piece as this and that staircase as cover on a T who tries to rush out this way. Interesting. Alright, so that was Scepter by Grapevin. Looked at all the timings, all the angles. I think it's a cool map. There's a couple changes I'd like to see. Namely, get rid of this angle by either removing the barrels or honestly just adding some cover here, because then it gets rid of this off angle, which is also kind of strong, just by placing, extending this brush would be like the real answer. But you could also just place props like a Seiko. That's one option. And I also think that there needs to be some cover here for both teams to consider playing off of, and I think it just helps make the map a bit better. Yeah, that is everything I have to say about this map for the A site. I take back what I said about this box. I don't think it's actually good. Is there anything else I'd want to do? I think just maybe consider placing something here, right? This isn't necessary, but I do feel like a bit more movement options to fight with this area would be interesting. And it also makes this like a better angle to play for both teams. CTs, right, actually when doing the actual round and post plant, being able to kind of fight around this wouldn't inherently be bad. I think it'd be somewhat interesting. So this is already a place you want to play off of this, but now it just creates another angle to like play around, and I think that's interesting. That's how I would adjust A. B, I think I would make the bomb site a little bigger, extend it out to like here and here, and just maybe consider adjusting some of the cover on site like this to be a little larger. Like, wait, oh wait, I'm actually gonna go boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's a nice little wooden wall without the gap in the middle. I think could be nice, just maybe. As well as extending the plan zone, of course, as stated by these bullet holes by me prior. And just, this is like a smaller thing, but I feel like you could use a nice solid piece of cover just in this general area. You can still like peek over this, right? But it just feels like something more playable. This back area, because right, without this box, I feel kind of empty in no man's land, and yes, I can kind of peek over headshot this, but now I have full body cover as well, and I think that's fine. And open this window to give me more options on T side, and maybe consider making this a door here so I can consider wall banging straight across to this. I don't think it'd be bad. I think it would help attempt to clear this angle that I think a lot of people are going to want to play on CT side. This is Scepter by Grapevin, and these are my thoughts on it. I hope you enjoyed this session of Meandering.